What's up, forehead? How we doing today? It looks like our cover's been blown. Oh, I was worried about this. Well, here we go. Whoa! Okay. How the fuck did this shit get in my pocket? Now that we got that cleared off, I got a new tool. And we're gonna use it for this. That feels good. That feels really nice. That feels good. This is about a week after last video, so you know, the day before we upload. And everything actually looks pretty decent. So I'm gonna start getting this bitch ready for some primer. And we're gonna start with this. Oh, look at that. That looks great. Look how straight that is. I'm loving this. Man, if you guys don't know, Dremels are the fucking shit. Doesn't look too horrible. There's still a crack there though. Nice and noticeable. Might have to fill that. This part won't be ready for primer. This, we can get that to sand nice and smooth. That'll be smooth. This will sand nice and smooth. This already feels nice and smooth, but we'll sand that too. Actually, we're gonna do quite a bit today. And I think you guys are fucking gonna see what I fucking look like, because I think I'm gonna do a time lapse. Okay, so call it experimentation or call it what I should have done from the beginning, but what I just did was I changed the temperature of that, and by that I mean it was inside, and I just brought it outside to do this. And it felt pretty good when I was applying it. It started to get stiffer, so maybe that was my problem to begin with. I don't know. But let's get into sanding. This is where the time lapse is going to come into play, like so. Okay, well, while we wait for the resin to dry, I am gonna go inside because it's cold as hell out here, and I'm just gonna warm up. Replace the GoPro battery, start a little bit of editing, you know, stuff you guys don't care about. So, when I come back, we are going to be ready to sand everything. Okay. All right, we're back, and over here we got our resin. It should be pretty decent by now. It's been about an hour and a half, so let's go take a look, please. Daddy? Okay, so our resin is still a little tacky, but we're gonna go ahead and water sand everything else, even though it's cold as shit outside. Get everything water sanded and taken care of. Let's go. All right, at this point, I was so focused on wet sanding that I never even stopped to think about what was actually going to happen while I was wet sanding. So I knew it was cold, and I knew my hand was going to get cold, and that was something I was just going to push through. What I didn't account for was the fact that every time my hand would go into the water and go back onto the fairing, there'd be more water, and it would start turning into ice. It was only 10 degrees outside when I did this. That would explain a lot. I'll eventually grab a blowtorch and try to melt the ice as I'm going, and that doesn't work out so well since this is a fairing and it will warp very easily. So we're gonna go for a change of scenery somewhere where it'll be a little bit warmer and we can still get a little bit of stuff done. So we'll see you there. So this is the change of scenery, and as medieval as it looks, I promise we're safe. I'm gonna continue water sanding where I won't be sanding ice. I'm gonna take the lights off and the windshield too, but let's get into it. Okay, before this GoPro battery dies, I kind of think it'll be a little cool to explain, you know, what I'm looking for and what I'm doing. While you're wet sanding, right, it's very important that you go in circle motions, right? Because if you don't go in circle motions, you end up with stuff like this. Not sure how well that'll come out, but you got these lines right here. that come this way. And that was from when I did it in the past, and those lines are still showing, right? You also get lines like right here, coming like this, going like that. It's really important that you're smooth with your sanding, right? Because even these are gonna show up the next time, unless I go all the way down to where these are and smooth them out. But that's not what we're doing, because we're gonna use filler primer, and filler primer should take most of these out. Also, when I'm using the paper towels to wipe it down, what you're looking for is dullness in the paint. You're looking for it to be like a matte finish compared to nice and shiny like you can see down in here. When the paint is wet and you're sanding, it's still gonna look glossy, and you don't want that. What you're trying to do is take away the gloss. So when you wipe it down and you dry it off, you get this matte finish, and you can check your progress with paper towels. Like right here, I'm probably gonna go over this a little bit more. I still gotta do a little bit more here, and that is just one deep spot that I can't do anything about. So I'm not gonna do anything about it. This was still shiny right here, and you can actually see where I kind of broke that rule of only doing circular motions, but I'm using 320, and that's not gonna show up in the filler primer. So we'll be fine. For example, we'll show you this side before, and then I'll probably do this off camera and show you what it looks like after. So there's the difference. Yeah, I don't know if you can tell or not. Still a couple shiny parts, but I'm not too worried about it. I got this piece of paper towel set up to show you guys what I mean by when it's wet, it's shiny, and when it dries. Check this out. This is cool. Look at that. That looks so amazing, right? And then when we dry it off, spread it around a little bit, it just looks like the rest of it. So that's how you can kind of check your progress, because when you're wet sanding, it all just looks like that. I thought I'd throw a little bit of education in here. The only problem we're running into now is the resin that I put here earlier. It's still a little tacky and sticky to the fingers, but it's not sticking on my fingers or anything like that. So this might be dry pretty soon, and I'll probably actually throw the primer on this. So we're gonna hope for this to dry. I got a nice propane heater right here. See, I told you, it's a dungeon, but it, you know, it's not dangerous. So we'll just wait for this to dry here. We'll sand that down and throw some primer on this, and it's gonna look completely different. It's still a little bit tacky, but it'll sand. It'll be all right. Went out, got some primer, the good, and some paint. Also got an abortion tool. We're gonna finish sanding this piece, and we're gonna put it in primer. Let's go. Well, now that I look like I failed at doing 12 pounds of cocaine, let's get into the wet part. Alright, now that it's hung like Chester Bennington, go through, get everything kind of wet, wash it off, throw her in primer. All right, well, she's in primer now. And if you zoom in, you can see just how much I don't care. Next step is going to be to wet sand and put paint on, but I think we're going to do that next week. This has been the end of the video. Don't forget, subscribe, hit the bell. This way you know when I upload, even though it's every Wednesday. Now that I'm higher than Snoop Dogg on 420, I think it's time for me to go edit. This way you guys have something to enjoy, something being this. I'll see you guys next week. See ya.